hypnotic dance. She pulled me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. It's our Wednesday night Paranormal Portal extravaganza of fun and all things paranormal, of course, which is in the wheelhouse of this show. So if you're looking for paranormal fun and hijinks and laughter and oddities, then you're in the right place, because that's what we deliver. At least we do our best to deliver. And thank you, everybody, for coming in that's here. Thank you to those of you who are still working your way over here. I know you guys will get here. First and foremost, I just got to say, if you're not already, please get subscribed and hit the likes as much as you can. I wish they'd let you click it over and over, really. I mean, we'd have like 1,000 from like 3 people. But that would be awesome. We would love to hear from you, of course, in that regard. But, you know, one like is good. We'll take it. So we got 2 full hours of fun here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And by we, I don't mean just me. I mean my good friend and co-host, the one, the only, the follically expressive Don Longbeard.
What he really means is you should make more than one YouTube profile and then log into all of them and like it and underneath all of them. And that way you can be like Ken Rotman and like us more than once.
Ken likes us a bunch, yeah. Ken's old school. He's old school. He's another one of those that's been with us forever since back when we first started. My God.
True enough.
True enough. It's kind of dark over there, brother.
It is. I like it that way.
Oh, well.
Kind of liking it.
All right.
Yeah, let me fix that.
No worries. But yeah, we got 2 full hours, folks. So lots to go on. Still, the phones are not working. I don't know what the hell the problem is.
Welcome to the portal.
Thank you. Thank you. That's true. That is the email. If you ever want to be a guest on our podcast, you got a bunch of stories of which you would like to share. We'd love to hear from you, and you can certainly use the email that Julia just posted, Blacktree just posted in the chat, and that's paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. Get in touch with me. I'm getting a lot of people, and what's happening is that I'm getting so many that I'm losing track of who and where, and I've got to come up with a better system for this, but just suffice it to say, if you've already reached out to me about being on the show and I haven't gotten back to you, or I've kind of fallen off the map, re-email me. Keep chasing me on this, and it's not your job to do this, but until I can get a better system in place, you guys can continue to remind me, and it's great, because I got about a gajillion things going through my head at any time, and that's no excuse, but it's just my reality. And so you are not going to be bothering me by bringing it up more than once. In fact, you'll be helping me out a ton. So if you've already reached out to me, reach out to me again. And if I haven't gotten back to you or haven't gotten back to a last contact that you made with me, and we'll get it sorted. Hello, Ethan. Good to see you. I see all the hellos, and it's good to see all of you. Brent, it's a phone vortex. It is. It's a portal. It's a vortex of no phoning. There'll be no phoning around here tonight. I don't know. It sucks though, because I really do miss that element of the shows since we don't have it. I always love it when you guys can call in and we can have a discussion, hear what's on your mind, hear what you've been through or experiencing or whatever, and discuss it. I mean, that to me is always the highlights, but when we don't have that opportunity, it makes it suck. So I do apologize for that, but if you have something you want to say, Don and myself both will be watching for it. But we'll try to, if you could just put at Paranormal Portal or at Aether Archives for Don, if you want his attention or my attention, respectively, and then put your message after that. We'll do our best to see it. With both of us glancing once in a while, we should hopefully see them, but I apologize if we don't. It's always with the best of intentions, of course. So we've got a lot of show ahead of us tonight. Again, no phones, unfortunately, but all I can tell you is that it's going to be a blast. So hang on, get a libation, turn down the lights, grab a comfy blanket, get all cuddly because it's about to get spooky up in here. Oh, Don, don't you love it when the live audience is here? That's a live audience, folks. Not really, but it's as live as we're getting. So.
You know what we might want to do is when we go around to our next little happening, our next little shindig, we should record the live audience. Plotting and stuff. And just cut that in instead.
Absolutely. It'd be a little less stadium, you mean?
Yeah.
More audience.
More intimate, live, small studio audience kind of thing.
Yeah, we could do that.
We could do a show warm up where they do that. It's like, hey, do that. Yeah.
Everybody on count of 3, cheers, as loud as you can. Yeah, we could do that for sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of shows, there's one coming up in June that Don and I are scheduled to attend. That's in Medellin Falls. Do you have the dates for that one, Don?
I think it was the 18th and 18th and through the 20th, or 18th and 20th, or
right, 18th through the 20th of June.
June, yeah.
That'll be in Medellin Falls, Washington. So we're gonna head over there in June, and it would be awesome if any of you could make the journey. I know we met Pam last time over there.
Pam and Michael, yeah.
Pam and Michael came over, and
then, of course, we met our friends Steve Major and Bill. I forgot Bill's last name. Yes, Bassan.
Yep.
And it was a rocking good time.
Right, and we of course hung out with Adam Davies and Dr.
Robert
Robert Alley.
Yep.
It was a great time. It was a lot of fun. So we're going to be back over there again on that weekend. So if you get a chance and you can break away in June, come over and check it out. And of course, it's a Bigfoot festival as well. So there will be lots of discussions about that. And last year it was really cool because there's a lot of activity in that area. And there was a lot of people in the audience who came forward to share their experiences as well. And there was some incredible experiences that were brought to the table.
Did the open forum at the end, yeah.
Yeah, along with the tracks. People brought in track casts and stuff, one of which was signed by Bob Gimlin, which was cool. We've never met Bob yet, but we're working on it.
We're not going to get a chance either.
We're not?
No.
Oh. Okay. Why?
Let me look something up. Hold on.
Okay.
Just so I don't Mandela effect myself.
Well, he's going to be on Amy's show, Amy Boo's show, coming up. I saw an ad for that. He might be at some of the shows. I don't know if the International is going to go on this year or not. I'm hoping it will, but we'll definitely be at the International Bigfoot Conference if that happens, which is in Washington State as well. We'll, of course, get back to you with any details on that as they come up. And we are starting to look at scheduling some investigation stuff. So we're going to hit the road and get out. And if you guys can join us
on the road again, that's
awesome. Now, one caveat is that if you join us, you're joining us as
at your liability.
Right. The Paranormal Portal assumes no liability of you. We are not responsible for possession, attachments,
if you die
accidents.
Of laughter when you meet Dawn, it's not our problem.
Yes, but we had a lot of fun in Coloma last year. Meetings, Cha-Cha and Titan and Justin Goodearth. Yeah,
and of course Duke and Matt.
Yep. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. And
Hawk was there. Yeah.
Yeah. and you and I were there, so it was a lot of fun, really cool. It was a hell of a workout for me, especially for me.
Oh my goodness!
He's a long way from my chair.
I still feel so bad about leaving Justin behind.
I know that one time when we were going to investigate that cabin. If you haven't seen those videos, they're in the investigations playlist on our YouTube channel. The 2 years that I've been up there, Don was up this last year, 2020, and so both the years are represented in the investigations playlist. And some really creepy stuff. Mostly ghostly, though. We were doing mostly ghostly investigations, but
mostly ghostly.
Mostly ghostly, huh?
Yeah. You're host of the mostly ghostly.
I am the host of Ghost, of course, Don.
Of course.
Remember that from the old TFR days? It was like Lewis or somebody said that. You're the host of Ghosts. Yeah. I thought that was cool. But anyway, we got a lot going on, and of course, the best place to start, as usual, folks, is the news. All right, folks, we're going over to the Paranormal Portal news desk, and we're going to get right into it here. All this news we got cooking here.
I don't know about that, Cha-Cha.
What?
She says there was streaking in Coloma, too. I don't know about that.
I don't think the Bigfoot were clothed.
There may have been this one time when I was out in the...
There was naked Bigfoot everywhere.
Oh, boy, anyhow.
We have breaking paranormal news. That's right, Ethan. Thank you. Ethan knows the taglines. I don't even know them myself yet, but I appreciate that. I appreciate it. It's time for the news, folks. And as always, on the news, we got a lot of newsy stuff to get into. First of all, I found this interesting. This was an article that I pulled up from Unexplained. Look at how small that is. Holy God. Oh, where'd you say I can do it with that? Where's that magnifying glass?
Oh, I don't know if you can do it in Brave browser.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind. Thought I was getting a shortcut here. Let me jack these up a little bit. This is a new take on the Loch Ness Monster I found pretty interesting. And this is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. This is why I love the Brave browser, folks. This would be a big, messy advertising banner that refreshes. But you open in the Brave browser, and it's just a void. It's a quiet, silent void. But here it is. Is the Loch Ness Monster an ancient sea turtle? Now, right off the bat, I'm going to have to say, no, that doesn't really match what a lot of reports are with the undulating back and stuff. It's more serpentine or eel-like, possibly. But I don't want to use that too much as a reference because, of course, that was the big findings from the latest genetic study that was done there. They found eel DNA, so quite possibly is the Loch Ness Monster an eel. I don't think so. That would have to be one hell of an eel. And I don't know if eels have determinate growth or not. Like determinate or indeterminate means that essentially if they have food and habitat, like an anaconda can grow as long as it can grow. As long as it's alive, it can continue to grow. But, and I believe most pythons are the same way. But can eels do that? I don't know. But anyway, let's just see what this has to say, because I haven't heard of this before. It says one researcher has come up with a new theory to explain sightings of the legendary Scottish Loch monster. Over the years, there have been countless theories put forth, in an attempt to explain the possible existence of a large, unknown aquatic beast in Scotland's most voluminous loch. These range from an extinct prehistoric reptile, such as a plesiosaur, to a species of giant eel. However, to date, there has never been conclusive answer to what lurks in the loch's murky depths. Now, Henry Bauer, a retired professor of chemistry and science studies at Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University, has come forward with another explanation. Nessie, he argues, is a species of ancient sea turtle descended from a population that had become trapped in the loch when the water receded at the end of the last ice age. The 89-year-old's research has since been published in a respected scientific journal. The most popular idea is that the Loch Ness Monster has a relationship to an extinct plesiosaurs, he said, but this is difficult to square with the rarity of surface sightings, let alone occasional sightings on land. On the other hand, everything described for the Loch Ness Monster squares with what is known many living in an extinct species of turtles. They're air-breathing but spend very long periods in deep water. They venture onto land, are very fast in water, have the ability to be active in very cold water, and have relatively long necks. Given how infrequent sea turtle sightings are in the Scottish Highlands, however, just how likely is it that a population of giant ones could have been surviving in Loch Ness without being discovered? Unless a specimen can be caught, we may never know for sure. So here's what I would wonder about that, because obviously it would have to be a breeding population. Mm-hmm. But there would be no predators for something like a giant sea turtle.
Well, there's no predators for something that big anyhow, unless you got, like, what is it called? The
Megalodon?
Yeah,
that big shark?
Giant sharks, yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess that's probably true. But you'd think for, like, sea turtles, wouldn't they just be all over the place?
Soup.
That'd be... I don't know. Are the sea turtles as edible as the freshwater ones?
You know, I haven't tried.
I'm surprised to hear that, but there
Not
you go.
yet.
Not yet.
I'm getting there.
He hasn't got his hands on one yet, folks.
Tortoise shell.
Comes with its own bowl. It's like ramen.
And then when you're done, you can put it on your head like a helmet.
Oh God, that'd be a big helmet. I don't know what. I don't know what size these giant sea turtles are alleged to be, but it could be. I don't know. I think it's an interesting new theory anyway. I hadn't heard anything of this before.
It is interesting, especially when you take into account of, like, you know, the lore about, you know, how the Earth is just the back of a sea, you know, a humongous turtle. You know,
oh, sure.
So, you know,
Asian metaphors.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, you know, just, you know, things.
Just things.
Yep.
Always things, folks. But there you go. That's the first I've heard of this. I don't know. I would love to hear what kind of reception that idea has gotten. I guess there is a point, though. He is right about. I've often wondered that too. If it was a plesiosaur, how often did they have to breathe?
Right.
You know, because and would it possibly surface very subtly, like just look like a little bobbing log until
just like a crocodile, just brings their nose up.
Yeah.
And then down it goes again.
And most turtles do the same thing. Like I grew up on the lake in Minnesota, and we would get snakes. And snakes, you don't really see much of them. They're like really pretty true to the water's plane. They don't like shoot their heads up and look around, maybe once in a great while, but for the most part, they're keeping low. And turtles are pretty much the same thing, but a turtle nose really juts up above the surface. Freshwater turtles that I'm familiar with, but I don't know. It's kind of a cool theory. I don't know. Take it or leave it, folks.
I can tell you there's no turtles in my ponds.
No, I don't probably. Well, you know, there may be.
Not anymore.
Oh. No.
Never mind. It was a definitive statement, not a question.
I thought you did some kind of population count, but you were doing population control. Mm-hmm. We're shooting for 0, folks.
I sent you an interesting news article. Check your messages.
Okay, well, let me check my messages and see what this interesting news article could be. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's something you don't see every day. Let's get to this. That'll go along with a sighting report that I pulled up too.
Excellent.
So there you go. Loch Ness Monster. Maybe it's a sea turtle. Maybe not. Next, we're going to go to a sighting, a possible sighting of a Bigfoot. And I think this is, what is it? Oh, keep it. That's fine. I don't care. I'm not a robot. What are you doing? I don't want to do this.
It's because you may have changed your, not your browser, but your...
Oh, I don't want that. Whatever it is.
Your search engine.
Okay. What did I... Oh, I got a lot more than what I meant. Okay. I got all of it, Don.
Oh.
That's why I wanted to go right to the search engine. Okay, so I'm all situated here for the most part, folks. Just give me a second. All right, so here is a sighting coming from British Columbia, and this is dated Sunday the 17th of January, so this just happened, 2021. It says, a chance sighting of a mysterious biped at the side of the road near Silverton has been making the news this week. Local news outlets in Canada have been reporting on the sighting of a large unidentified creature that was witnessed back in December 25th in British Columbia. Eric Spink D'Souza and 3 of her friends, Erica Spink D'Souza and 3 of her friends had been driving home at around 9 p.m. on Christmas Day when 2 of the group, Erica, who was in the back seat, and another, who was in the front, caught sight of a huge man standing on 2 legs, which bent over and fell to all 4 legs. Both agreed it was not a bear, especially given that bears are hibernating this time of the year. After returning home, the group decided to go back to the scene of the sighting to look for clues. They discovered what appeared to be a set of large tracks where the creature had been. One of the group also reported feeling as though someone was watching them from the trees. Mm-hmm. We live near Silverton, British Columbia in Canada, Erica wrote, and we have also been walking in the woods near our house, and one time I saw a structure / setup of trees that looked deliberately placed in different crisscross arrangement. I also heard deep resonant sounds one night right after we first moved into our property near Silverton, BC. It sounded part human, part animal. So could there be a Bigfoot roaming the woods near Silverton? Is there a conventional explanation? You can view the full BFRO report in the link below. Bum, bum. I don't know, maybe we should do that. Why not? We don't have to worry about commercials tonight. This is it as of December 25th. 2020, it says, we were returning home last night. 2 members of our vehicle said, "Look, is that a bear?" The person in the front seat saw what looked like a huge man standing on 2 legs. It bent over and fell to 4 legs. The person in the back saw the animal on the 4 legs, and they both say it was not a bear. This was yesterday. It was winter. Bears here in the interior of Kootenays are hibernating. We live nearby. We got home and all 4 of us decided to go back and look for tracks. We went and filmed and took photos of a whole bunch of massive tracks that looked like they were from a biped animal. We have this video and photos and would like someone to look at them. We live near Silverton, British Columbia in Canada, and we've also been walking in the woods near our house, and one time I saw a structure / setup of trees that looked deliberately placed and in different crisscross arrangement. I also heard deep resonant sounds one night right after we first moved into our new property near Silverton, British Columbia. It sounded part human, part animal. Also noticed one person felt a presence in the woods when we went back to look at the tracks. We felt like that we were being watched as we examined the video and videoed the tracks, rather. Other witnesses, there were 2 people who saw it, and then 4 of us returned to see and take photos of the tracks. Other stories, yes, there have been many sightings of Sasquatches in British Columbia. We felt like there are Sasquatch markers on our property. And then they give the address. We would like someone to look at the video and photos. It was just past 9 p.m. when we saw it. It was dark, snowy, and there were no lights as we were in the wilderness. It was a clearing out in the woods near the side of the highway. What am I hearing? Is that
Alexa?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, let me tell her to shut up.
Thank you. So there you go, folks. And there's a follow-up of it, but I don't see any of the pictures or video that they're talking about. So unfortunately, we can't look at that, at least not that I can see. So but it wouldn't surprise me at all. British Columbia, my God, is crawling with Sasquatch. There's no shortage of them up there. We're essentially in the same stretch of wilderness here. If you look at like Google Earth or something and you look at the whole British Columbia / northern Idaho, Washington line, it's just one big ocean of forests. Right, Don?
Yes, actually it is. We're still Pacific Northwest. We're still within that... you're right, stretch, Rocky Mountains, and then the Selkirks and things like that.
Yep.
We're right in there. We're part of the Selkirk Loop, as a matter of fact. So, what happens over there happens over here occasionally as well, just not as much as over there. But, BC and that whole area, that northwest, I guess for them it would be southwest area of Canada is really just crawling with activity.
Yes, indeed. And I think there's plenty everywhere. But I mean, there's no question that if what they say they saw, then for sure, if it was a huge man-looking thing, that's a Bigfoot. No doubt. I have no question that they're up in this area and all around. It still to this day boggles my mind how many of them there are around, like how many different parts of the world they are. It's like they don't have a problem being anywhere.
No, it's like they have no real, what is the word? Not environment. No real
ecosystem or
that's
habitat.
Habitat.
Yeah.
There's no particular type of habitat
Right.
that they prefer. They're there. They have the grade B prime area.
Right. Well, here's another one. This is the one that Don just sent me, and this kind of goes hand in hand with these Bigfoot reports. It says this is coming from OKCFox.com news. Local, and that's Oklahoma Rep files bill to establish Bigfoot hunting season. Oh, that's what you don't want. We'll get into that in just a second, but it says Oklahoma City, a bill to establish a Bigfoot hunting season was introduced in Oklahoma on Wednesday. Representative Justin Humphrey wants Oklahoma Wildlife Commission to establish a Bigfoot hunting season. Humphrey represents a large part of southeastern and south central Oklahoma that is infamous for Bigfoot sightings. They even host a Bigfoot festival every year. This year's activities were canceled due to the COOF. The Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation Commission shall promulgate rules establishing a Bigfoot hunting season. The commission shall set an annual season dates and create any necessary specific hunting licenses and fees. There you go. It's a revenue grab. You can read the bill here. If passed, the bill would be effective November 1st, 2021. Okay, so here's where it gets like stupid. First of all, we don't really know what these are. I mean, it starts off kind of stupid anyway. But imagine this. You train an entire generation of Bigfoots to at least fear, but could turn them absolutely aggressive towards anybody that enters those woods, because they don't have a season. They're just going to know that people came in and shot at them and maybe took family members away, and they're going to be hell bent on possibly shredding a whole lot of hikers. I think you really endanger the whole population of outdoor enthusiast people, because once this happens, is this become like a war? Now, the First Nations tribes were always very careful to not cross the Bigfoot. There's stories after stories after stories of where things went sideways and maybe someone shot one with an arrow or something, and then they would be getting raided all the time by the whole family groups. And there is allegedly a real desire for vengeance on these things. And so once people are going out pop shotting, what if they're wounding them and
right.
I mean, there's so many things that are going to go sideways, and a bunch of people that have no idea what they're hunting or how to hunt it. How many people are going to get shot because they're also bipedal?
Can you imagine winging the ear off a Bigfoot and what that's going to do? That's just going to tick them off really bad.
That's going to piss off. Yeah, I mean, or a family group.
Right.
If that's like, say a family group is maybe 3 or 4
right.
members big,
there's 3 or 4 little members coming after you.
Yeah.
They're not going to wait.
You get one, there's 2 others that are coming after you, and maybe they're friends. Who knows? I don't know what kind of social network these things have, but but people are going to be on the roster, because they aren't going to discriminate with when the people are dangerous. They're going to know that people are dangerous.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And
just no provocation needed.
Yep, exactly.
It's done.
They shot at us before. Go throw rocks, big ones. Go after campsites.
Bigfoot smash.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the Incredible Hulk kind of logic. It's like, people smash.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think that is absolutely stupid. I think it's irresponsible.
And you're right though. it's another money grab. It's they're cashing in on this thing, and making money on it, kind of like paper masks and latex gloves and nitrile gloves and.
Well, and then just look at the hunting season now. People don't look anything like a deer, and hunters get shot all the time.
All the time.
How much do we look like a Bigfoot? Well, pretty close. pretty close, especially if you're all camoed out and stuff and you're walking through the brush. You can expect to get shot at. I bet you hunters are going to drop like flies.
Right.
I thought it was a Bigfoot. So regardless, there's going to be a lot of pain and anguish on the other side of this if they do pass it.
Dawson J says, I heard horses being found in trees. They are not to be messed with.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's been hanging a carcass.
Yeah,
put this little foot right here.
A cat didn't drag one of them up there.
Hell no.
Mountain lion.
I don't care how big that cat is either.
I don't think a full-grown tiger could drag a horse up a tree. I know jaguars are plenty strong, but that's a whole different ballpark. So yeah, I mean, this is a bad idea and a history of bad ideas when it comes to hunting these things. We don't know enough about them. There's no way to safely engage them. There's no way to know what kind of ramifications will be brought to the surface with this action. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, that's Oklahoma for you, though,
right? I guess where I'm not moving. Nice forested area.
But it does beg the question, if that does happen and people go out Bigfoot hunting in Oklahoma and then somebody ends up wounding one that doesn't die.
Yeah.
And it comes back to you, like you said, social networks. What kind of social networks do they have? Will that spread across the United States like news through the Bigfoot, and tree knocks,
It'd be like telegraph.
Kill all humans.
Thunderstick bad. Throw rocks.
Yeah, no doubt. But I mean, how fast would that spread? How would, would it, in fact, if it happens on the East Coast, like they're talking about, how long does it take for them to on the West Coast to know?
Yeah.
So.
I don't know, man. But I think primarily it's probably mostly just a money grab because they know there's a lot of people that are anxious as hell. The big push for this is that Bigfoot is big business.
Yes,
it is big business, and there's nothing wrong with making a living at something you're passionate about. I think that's awesome.
But this isn't making a living. This is cashing in on.
This is cashing in on people's passion. Yeah. It's just how do we dip the ladle into that?
Right.
How do we dip the ladle into that, the cash ladle? Because they know people are absolutely motivated. And then there's also the idea that it's been pretty much pounded into everybody's head. Boy, if you can bag one of these, that'd be $1 million ticket right there. Mm-hmm. Well, sure, you're going to get every treasure hunter out there trying to bag one because they're convinced there's a meal ticket at the end of it. So, I don't know, just scary. That's scary as hell. So there you go, folks. And that was as of January 20th, as of today.
Today.
That's a Today article, folks. And, just tragic. Scary, tragic, stupid kind of stuff.
Never mind. I shouldn't say that.
Oh, okay. You stopped yourself.
I did.
Okay. Let me just see what else I had pulled up here. Not that one, and this one I got. So
Hazel says the cryptids are permeating the physical realm more and more. Too many sightings. Yeah, and that's that'll just if this gets through and
right,
you're going to be making some real money. Yeah. I have to admit though, I wonder what a Bigfoot cloak would feel like. Feel like Ned Stark out there. It's dire wolf. Yeah.
I don't know because
would I smell like a Bigfoot?
I don't. You do sometimes now. No, I'm just kidding.
That's called sage and black pepper, my friend. That's marinade.
You're marinated in it, yeah. No, I think it probably, I don't think they probably have a coat like most people think. I think that they just handle the temperatures much better.
You think so? They're
well,
just
every
tolerant.
time, because you hear people talking, like, I could see its skin through the chest. He had long hair, but it was kind of sparse on the chest.
On the bald face.
Right. Yep. So I think probably around the head, nape of the neck, and on the arms and legs, they're the most hairy. And then everything in the middle is kind of just there.
Because I tell you, when I get done doing my driveway, clearing the snow off my driveway, I've got icicles right up here. Nothing but ice.
And then what happens if Bigfoot sees you and falls in love, Don?
Oh, boy.
All of a sudden, your stump broke.
Oh, God. Thank you, Big Brother Bear, for teaching him that term. Oh, my goodness.
Like, what the hell
what
does
that mean?
I was like, what the hell is stump broke?
Don't say that, Bear. Don't say that.
Bear taught me a new word.
Big Brother Bear, the bad influence.
Yeah, it's his birthday just recently, too.
Is it? Was it?
Yep.
I missed it. Dang it.
Yeah, I sent him a message. I didn't hear back from him, but I think he thumbs it up my message or something, but he's a busy guy.
He is, yeah.
But anyway, there you go, folks. I think that's the news. So you'll have to let us know in the comments, how do you feel about Bigfoot hunting? What are your guys' feelings on that? Says wolf paws don't have frostbite. Guess Bigfoot has the same kind of ability. That's a good point. Good point, Seven Pearls. Yeah, hard to know.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, you're right.
Titan knew its own stump broke meats.
Of course he does.
I only learned all about that.
He's a bad influence, that Big Brother Bear of ours.
Well, he keeps it real. There's no doubt about it. What were you going to say, though? Did I interrupt you?
No. I was going to say something about what something Cha-Cha said again.
Oh.
About humans marinating themselves.
Yeah.
She says, we are pink, soft, and delicious. Ooh. No, actually, we're soft on the inside, outside, crunchy on the inside.
Oh.
So, just FYI.
It could be.
It's like a Snickers bar. What's the matter, Bigfoot? Need a Snickers?
You get kind of squatchy when you're hungry.
We're about to go full squatch up in here. Where's the Snickers?
You give him a Snickers, it turns into an accountant.
Oh, no.
Thanks. I feel much better.
Can you imagine? He's got his hair all back, and he's got his glasses on. He's got the thick hide.
There you go. Full of nougat and a bit nutty. Yeah.
Yes. Nice, Chris.
That's it, for sure. That's for sure.
Digger Dog says we're pull-aparts.
We're like, what are those, sticky buns or whatever? You just kind of pull them apart. Yeah. Dip us in a little
monkey bread,
maple syrup, and we're good.
What's this maple syrup thing?
Huh?
That's disgusting.
Maple syrup?
Yes. I'm not very BC. Canadian, for that matter.
Well,
I don't like maple. I don't like syrup.
That was a big thing in Minnesota, too, tapping the maple trees. That is some good stuff, folks.
Is that what they call it?
That's what we called it. And it was legal, too.
We didn't need no license.
We don't need no stinking badges.
Oh, man. Okay, so anyhow.
Whew.
Good little laugh there.
Good little laugh. Yeah. I got to see where the hell's it. Oh, here's another one I want to read now. This is something I thought was pretty exciting because, of course, a lot of people have been talking about the Paracas Skulls for quite a while.
Yeah.
These are Paracas from South America, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Central or South? Which is it? Central or South? Central. South, I think. Oh, maybe Central. Okay. Well, this is an article I found.
Oh, Peru. No, yeah, South America. You're right.
Yeah, South America. Okay. So I'm excited about this one because I think this is something that I've believed for a long time. Mm-hmm. The Paracas Skulls, if you're not familiar with it, are these elongated skulls that were uncovered in Paracas, Peru. And they were found in like tombs. And these are elongated skulls that are much bigger volume than a human skull, just by volume alone and weight. And there's structural differences as well. Like a lot of mainstream scientists say, no, that's shaping the skull is an old tradition. Mm-hmm. It was practiced in many primitive cultures.
Sure, if that's what you want to call it.
But you can't change the physical skeletal anatomy by binding a skull. You can change the shape, but you can't add volume to a skull by stretching it out. You just change the volume to a different shape.
Right.
It's still going to be the exact same volume. So binding the skull doesn't add it. Now, there's another big difference that came out of this as well, and that is that the parietal plate, the front plate, we have two. Mm-hmm. That's part of a human anatomy, is we have two parietal plates. The Paracas skulls, I think it's in the front, maybe I'm wrong, but the Paracas skulls have one. It's one plate. So that's a huge physiological difference that was consistent in several specimens. So whatever these things are, they're not us. They never were us. And so what I found was this article, folks, and this is coming from Mysteries Are Unsolved, mysteriesAreUnsolved.com. I don't know the veracity or the claims, what they're saying here. I don't know if this is a credible thing or not. It's the first time I've seen this site. But I was excited. It says DNA tests reveal The Paracas skulls are not human. And here's a good comparison. On your screen, folks, you'll see the big tall one. That's the volume difference. This is binding of a skull, and this would be what these are.
Yeah, because it's more like comparing microcephaly.
Yep.
To an elongated skull, such as the Paracas skulls, because that's kind of what it is. Microcephaly is what some people used to call pinhead.
Yep.
And so they would cone out. Now, sometimes it'd be smaller, sometimes, but by the binding when you're young, and it only happens when you're young, you have to bind the head, and it's still going to cone. These aren't cones; these are actually cylindrical.
Yeah,
with a dome.
It does look cylindrical. Yep. So it says Paracas is a desert peninsula located in the province of Pisco in the Ica region on the southern coast of Peru. It is here that Peruvian archaeologist Julio Tello. I got to blow this up. Now, is this one has it?
Nope, not yet. Nope.
No, this isn't Brave, though.
It's not there for some reason.
Oh, okay. All right, let me blow this up first. Getting bigger. There we go. All right, here goes. During the Tello discovered... let's see, Julio C. Tello made one of the most mysterious discoveries in 1928. During the excavations, Tello discovered a complex and sophisticated cemetery in the rough soil in the Paracas Desert. The enigmatic tombs, Tello discovered a series of controversial human remains that would forever change how we look at our ancestors and our origins. The bodies in the tombs had some of the largest elongated skulls ever discovered on the planet. Called the Paracas Skulls, the Peruvian archaeologists discovered more than 300 mysterious skulls that are believed to be at least 3,000 years old. As if the shape of the skulls wasn't mysterious enough, a recent DNA analysis performed on some of the skulls presents some of the most enigmatic and incredible results that challenge everything we know about the human evolutionary tree and origin. There's I'll give you a table of contents. So the mystery behind the Paracas skulls. Deformation of the skull, an ancient religious practice. While various cultures around the world perform skull deformation, elongation practices, the techniques used were different, meaning that the results were not the same either. There are certain South American tribes who tied the skulls of babies in order to change their shape, resulting in a drastically elongated skull shape. By applying constant pressure over a long period of time, with the use of ancient tools, the tribes managed to perform cranial deformations that are also found in ancient cultures in Africa, which is also interesting. How did these disparate regions come up with that same idea? Why was that an attractive look? And they're showing some sketches of how that might have been done, which is absolutely horrible. You imagine? How do you keep a baby still? Yeah. They never just lay there like that.
Just reminded me of a tortilla press.
Oh, good Lord. Wow, that just became tragic. All right, so it says, however, this type of cranial deformation changed the shape of the skull. It did not alter cranial size, weight, or volume, all of which are characteristic features of regular human skulls. This is precisely where the characteristics of the Paracas skulls turn out to be the most interesting. Paracas skulls are anything but ordinary. Paracas skulls are at least 25% larger and up to 60% heavier than the skulls of regular human beings. The researchers strongly believe that these characteristics could not have been achieved with the techniques used by the tribes, as some scientists suggest. Not only are they different in weight, but the Paracas skulls are also structurally different and only have one parietal plate, whereas the normal human beings have two. These strange features have added to the mystery for decades, as researchers still have no idea who these individuals with such elongated skulls once were. And says later tests made the Paracas skulls even more enigmatic. Sorry, I'm a little sniffly. The director of the Paracas Museum and History sent 5 samples of the Paracas skulls for genetic testing, and the results were fascinating. Samples consisted of hair, teeth, skin, and some fragments of skull bones gave incredible details that have fueled the mystery surrounding these anomalous skulls. The genetic laboratory where the samples were sent was not previously informed of the origin of the skulls to avoid influencing the results. Interestingly, mitochondrial DNA, which is inherited from the mother, showed mutations that are unknown to any man, primate, or animal found on the planet Earth. The mutations present in the Paracas skull samples suggest that the researchers were dealing with an entirely new human, very different from Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, Denisovans. The similar results were found from the tests conducted at the Starchild skull, which was discovered around 1930 in a mine tunnel about 100 miles southwest of Chihuahua, Mexico. The people in the Paracas skulls were purportedly so biologically different that it would have been impossible for humans to interbreed with them. I'm not sure this fits into the known evolutionary tree, wrote the geneticist. Who were these mysterious beings? Did they evolve separately on Earth? What caused them to have such drastic differences from ordinary human beings? And is it possible that these beings did not come from the Earth? All of these possibilities are theories that cannot be nullified given current evidence. All we know so far is that there are many things that are beyond the understanding of researchers, historians, and scientists. It is possible that, after all, the question of whether we are alone in the universe can be answered thanks to the Paracas skulls. Wow. How about that? How about that, Don?
That's interesting, because it reminds me. Remember last week I read about the Dropa?
Yes.
Okay, so the Dropa also had oddly shaped skulls. They were a little taller, little more domed, but they were finer boned. And that's when you talk about the Dropa, and if you read into the mythology of the Dropa, the history, the whatever you want to call that, they say that they come from the clouds.
Right.
So there you go.
Yeah, and there's lots of histories that do. I mean, First Nations have stories of when they came from the stars or whatever. Their forefathers came from the stars, and so
right.
There's all kinds of histories that are wound up in our world in these ancient cultures.
Right.
There are stories, I think, in the Cherokee have of the time before the moon was here.
Right.
And when you think about that, and of course, as enigmatic as our moon is anyway, and defies all the usual characteristics of natural moons, it doesn't appear that it was from here. It was brought here or got here somehow and became trapped in a weird, unusual orbit and such. So maybe.
Well, there's many theories that say it's not original, and it only came in recorded history, whether it be verbal or not. It's still just within that not ancient history. So, even if we're looking at 2,500 years ago,
right?
I don't know when the time frame for the time before the moon.
Yeah.
For some reason, it's not clicking in my head.
I don't either.
But if there are verbal, histories, verbal lore, what are they? Anyhow, but
oral traditions.
Oral traditions, yes. If there are oral traditions about a time before the moon, that means that there was somebody here to witness it, and somebody passed it down through their traditions.
Right.
So there you go. Titan asks about, aren't there tribes that, stretch their necks, elongate their necks? Well, that's true. But, when you misshape a skull like that, it doesn't kill the person.
Right.
When you remove the wrappings. But it's known that what happens when you do that elongation of the neck, you actually separate the vertebrae.
Oof. If
those rings were ever removed, that person would die because they'd basically have a broken neck, and they would have to have extensive surgery. Head binding is not much different than Chinese foot binding. They used to break girls' feet and then bind it tightly, so because tiny feet were attractive.
Yeah.
It's horrible. This is all horrible.
And they can't run away.
Well, that's true. Yeah, they can't do anything.
Yeah,
but they're in pain for all of their lives. So different juxtapositions, things like that. So
yeah.
Anyhow,
it's crazy. There are a lot of weird barbaric traditions. Then even I don't know for sure, but I have to think the corset is right up there with it. Because I don't know, man.
I don't know. Julia's got a nice one. She wore it for she wore it as a costume for Halloween.
Oh, nice. Okay, gotcha.
She was a pirate princess.
Oh, right. I think I saw the picture of that. Right, but I mean, the whole idea of changing fundamentally the body.
Yeah.
And Titan asked, do you think that was a tradition, binding skulls? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was not only in South America but in Africa, according to that article.
Right.
Which I think is also possibly. It would fuel the idea that wherever they got this idea from, it was not only in one place. It wasn't just one region. So there were possibly elongated skull people in Africa,
right?
And there were elongated skull people in South America, and maybe those are the forerunners of Egypt before the current Egyptians got there. The idea that the ancient alien philosophies that are out there, that people were helped by these star people.
You can go all the way back to like Gilgamesh, and because Gilgamesh was from that general a huge area, right? And that was like 2,500 to 250,000 years ago. The Sumerian kings, giants. It was said that he was 15 feet tall.
Wow.
And if you go back farther, you get back into the Nephilim, Nephilim, whatever you want to say. You look at I don't know why I got into giants. I don't know. I'm sorry.
That's all right, because you're these ancient examples of these different races.
And so, I mean, you get back to, ancient Sumerians being from the stars.
Right.
That's where I was going with that. So, and there's a lot of things that are passed down, emulated from those oral histories, traditions, myths, because there's what were they emulating in the idea of trying to elongate these skulls? What were they trying to emulate, with all these different things that are traditions across the world that seem connected in an odd sort of way, wouldn't you say?
I would, yeah. I mean, it's very strange. It seems that being visited here is nothing new. It's just that for some reason we have this modern denial of that.
Rick, aka Purple Hobbit, says Don's beard clearly isn't human. No, it's a symbiote. It's a symbiote. It's like, have you seen? You've seen the 300, right? It's like Leonidas's beard. It's got a life of its own. So, but anyhow, thank you for noticing. Yes. But, there's got to be some kind of emulation going on. They had to have seen it somewhere, things like this. So, who knows,
Who does know? That's true. That's true. I want to read this one, and this is another weird, bizarre kind of people article, and it's from our very own Brent Swanser.
Gosh, how did I know? What was the one he tagged you on recently that was like, I just looked at it and went, wow, that would be interesting. Maybe he didn't tag you on it, but the Japanese magicians.
Oh yeah. I read that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I read it. It's pretty interesting because it's based. There is a factual basis for this person existing. And it's kind of Japan's Merlin,
right?
Is what it sounds like. But very interesting story. But it's hard to separate what is legend, what actually may have happened. But pretty cool all the same. He always links me on the stories, which is really fun.
Yeah, he does. He's like, please read this one. Please read that one. It's like, okay, we can. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I think. I love reading his things because it's really intense. All right, so I'm going to get to this article as well. I do think that there was something going on in Egypt before our current history would suggest.
Yes.
By a long shot.
Yes.
Again, I was listening to, I think, Graham Hancock or one of those guys was talking about the erosion on the Sphinx and stuff.
Graham Hancock.
Yeah, and that's something you've mentioned many times on the show too. And so whatever's going on there in these pyramids, and if you look at the pyramids in ancient Egypt, there's like the big ones that are really, really old.
And then the mastabas, the step which are newer and falling apart.
Yeah, the newer versions, which is like apparently an attempt to emulate that, didn't go real well. Not well at all. And so I don't know what the deal is, but there seems to be a whole bunch of history that we just don't know. And I guess that really bothers me because think of what we could learn if we knew the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But anyway, that one looks good too. Outlandish encounters with reptilians. Oof. I tell you what, I could do a show on Brent Swanser. Just shows.
We could yeah. You wouldn't have two a night would fill an hour.
Yeah, I know. All right, this is an article from mysteriousuniverse.org. Again, that is the stomping grounds of Brent Swanser, who is the most prolific paranormal journalist out there. And this one is Bizarre Encounters with Aquatic Humanoids. Now these are wild, and I've heard a few through the years. One of which there was a lady who was a really strong swimmer, and she was out with her kids swimming in this place, and I don't know if it was Missouri or Mississippi or somewhere, but suddenly she felt a clawed hand grab onto her leg and pull her down, and essentially she did see that it looked like not really unlike the creature from the Black Lagoon. But it was trying to drag her under.
The creature from the Black Lagoon.
Lagoon, yeah. Yeah, but it was very weird. And apparently she was visited by somebody who said, no, that didn't happen, and you must never talk about this.
Right.
I think it was an Air Force or somebody or Navy person came and visited her and said, no, this didn't happen. Don't talk about it. So I do believe, again, there's aquatic things, there's land things, there's probably air things. There's all kinds of things we just don't understand. But this article is from November 27th of 2019. Again, mysteriousuniverse.org. Great site. Check it out if you get a chance. If you're looking for anything paranormal or Fortean, you'll definitely want to check it out. By Brent Swanser, Bizarre Encounters with Aquatic Humanoids. Within the realm of cryptozoology and the paranormal, there are often reports that are so strange as to really catch the attention. That's pretty much every one of his articles.
They're engrossing.
Yeah, exactly. Amongst these are the various uncategorizable humanoid creatures that have been reported roaming the wilds of our planet. And among the weirder of these are aquatic, amphibious entities. Different from the traditional mermaid accounts, these are beings that seem to be very human-like in form, yet which are obviously not quite of the world as we know it, seeming to be denizens of the deep. It's all really odd, and here's a selection of phenomenal accounts of aquatic humanoid entities from the gloomy watery depths below. In one report from researcher Linda Moulton Howe, in 1968, there was an odd encounter with some sort of aquatic humanoid made by former U.S. Army Specialist 4 military policemen who, at the time, had been stationed in the Presidio in San Francisco, California, as well as at Fort Baker in Marin County, California. The witness calls himself David and says that at the time of this weird encounter, he'd been in patrol of Fort Baker at approximately 1 a.m. in the morning, not far from the main installation and only about 20 feet from the water's edge of San Francisco Bay. He'd been with a partner, and at some point during their lonely patrol, they noticed fleeting movement off in the dark and slowed their vehicle to see what was lurking, or what it was. I don't know where I got lurking. Thinking it must be a trespasser. In a way, they were right, but this was no human intruder. The witness says, when I applied the brakes, it lit that thing up. And it was a humanoid form. The only way I can describe it is if you saw the movie The Creature from the Black Lagoon, it was very, very close to that. Very close. The head was a little bit smaller, but the overall form of it was very close to that creature. And it came out of the water and stood on the road. And when I put the brakes on, I could see it clearly, and my partner turned around, and he saw it. It was a humanoid form, but what I could make out of the detail of it, it looked like it wasn't flesh. I could look at it, kind of looked like, well, it looked like some kind of lizard skin or something like that. That's what it looked like, but it was a little smoother than that. The color of it was kind of a greenish brown, dark greenish brown, and it had broad shoulders. So it looked very healthy. It looked very strong and healthy because it was tall. I would guess it was about 9 feet.
Wow.
That's huge. It's kind of hard to judge, but definitely not under 7 feet. I'd say it was about 9 feet tall. And as we looked at it, the creature stood there for maybe 5 seconds, or at the most 10 seconds, and it took off. And I could see it just run. But it ran not back into the water, but towards the cliff that was there. There was a sheer cliff there that it ran against and disappeared. We're both a little shaken, to be honest with you. So my partner, we both saw this thing, and we saw it run into the cliff. There's nothing but a cliff there, and I can't imagine anybody being able to climb that cliff. It was just like a wall. Another account from the same time period that also involves military personnel on the beach was related by researcher Scott Corrales at the site Inexplicata, and originates from a report given by a military man stationed in the Caribbean island of Antigua in 1969. On this evening, he and a few friends had gone down to Mamora Bay to do some night fishing. As the sun went down, they noticed a group of people having a bonfire down on the beach, and they didn't think much of this at the time. But then the people around the fire were reported to have been engaged in some sort of ritual, forming an inexplicable circle and even seemingly sacrificing chickens. So far, so strange, but it would get even weirder still when something began to stir out among the moon's frosted waves. And the witness says, "We suddenly saw someone come out of the water. We were speechless. It wasn't a skin diver. It was a person, but a lot taller. Standing over 6 feet tall, he walked slowly and surely towards the men in the circle. The beast in question was described as humanoid in general shape, but with an angular tapered head, webbed hands and feet, and a row of bony protrusions going down its scaly back. As it approached the group doing the ritual, one of them walked right up to it, holding a bowl into which the chicken's blood had been emptied, and the creature took it and began to drink from it. When it had finished the contents of the bowl, it silently turned around and headed back towards the water. Where it dove in, disappeared into the darkness. The men were thoroughly freaked out by all of this by this point, and vacated the area with great haste. What in the world was going on here? Rituals on the beach? Chicken sacrifices? And aquatic humanoids? What gives? Beaches seem to be a good place to catch sightings of odd aquatic humanoids. Another report comes from Reddit user Johnny Turquoise, who had her experience on the seaside of Brittany in France of 2012. At the time, she had been at a place called the Lie de Groix, which is only accessible by ferry, and where she had come with her boyfriend for a quiet vacation. I think we read this one from another source before. On this evening, there were full moon out, and they went for a romantic stroll along one of the area's beaches. The night was calm, and the beach bathed in moonlight. A great night to be out staring at the cliffs and the waves, but then something very unusual caught their eye. The witness says, "So we were standing on a cliff, facing the sea, when suddenly, straight ahead of us, we saw a human-shaped figure get out of the water and hurry across the beach. I know it's nothing scary so far, except the figure was pitch black, contrasting with the clear sand, and was not reflecting any light, like a shadow. It's weird because, remember, the moon was shining. We first thought it was someone skinny dipping. Problem is when you're going out to sea, you first swim to the edge of the sea, and then you stand up and walk out of the water. This figure gradually went out, all the time standing tall, as if it was walking on the bottom of the ocean. Moreover, my boyfriend and I had been looking at the water for a while and never noticed anyone swimming, as if it was totally immersed for at least 10 minutes. At the sight of that, I felt particularly uncomfortable, not to say really freaked out. So was my boyfriend, who is not easily scared. Weirdest part is once the human-shaped figure got out of the water, it headed straight ahead to the foot of the cliff where we were standing. But it wasn't walking or running, it was sliding on the sand, like really fast. A pitch-black human shape with indistinguishable face and features, sliding fast as hell on the sand, almost gliding. not moving its legs or anything, leaving no trail or footsteps behind. We stared at it silently until it got a few meters away from the foot of the cliff, and then, without talking, we decided to get the hell out of Dodge. So with this feeling of dread and fear, we never saw or heard of this creature again. And nothing strange happened on the rest of our vacation. My boyfriend, however, has witnessed strange things on the island before, but nothing that's related to this story. On another occasion, these creatures are seen from boats or other vessels, and as such is the case of Reddit user who says that back in 1994, he'd been riding a rowboat with a small outboard motor along with his friend and brother along a shipping canal in the U.S. state of Illinois. As they made their way north, along north towards Lake Michigan, the witness saw something utterly bizarre in the water. The witness says, "On the east shore, about 4 feet above the water, I spotted a bright pink person, totally naked. I have perfect vision, and this creepy short human is crouched over and dangling what I thought was a really overblown case of skinny sunburn hand pointing with an appropriately skinny index finger into the water in a swirling whirlpool or flushing motion. I locked eyes. I took inventory of it. Missing its sex, although it was naked, it had no hair, and it looked like it was starved with no fat on its body. It was bright, but not to the point that it gave off anything but a pink color. It was all pink, and its eyes were dark. It was about 300 feet away when we locked eyes, and I was already screaming at the other to look, and they were slow to act, and it calmly dove arms first into the water. It never surfaced. I was in a state of terror. What was it? Was it getting something? Why was it so calm? I was trying to get the above details out of my mouth. My friend and my brother totally believed me to the point that they said, "Turn around, let's get out of here." We hauled the boat out of the water into my grandpa's pickup truck. I literally peeled out on the rocks, scared to death of this 36-inch-ish in dove from the squatting position like a calm bullfrog thing. An interesting report comes from the site Phantoms and Monsters and concerns a sighting made by a group of fishermen aboard a trawler in the Caspian Sea, territorial waters with Azerbaijan in 2005. The crew say that they noticed something swimming out in the water, keeping pace with the vessel. And at first thought it was just a school of fish until a humanoid head with spines or hair poking out emerged from the water, and arms tipped by webbed hands became visible. The aquatic humanoid kept pace with the trawler for some time before diving down into the depths, never to be seen again. Interestingly, many reports of a similar creature came from Iran, and this time as well, where the creature was called a Runa Shah, which means master of waters and rivers. In all of the reports, the being is described as having webbed hands and feet, sharp nails, pale yellowish gray skin, bristle-like green hairs or spines, an oversized lipless mouth, lack of discernible ears, and large black eyes. While people on the shore and on boats have had their share of strange sightings, maybe even eerier are those made by divers. After all, they're up close and personal with these outlandish entities. And to see one bloom out of the murk would be quite a startling sight to see. One such report comes from the book Great Southern Mysteries by E. Randall Floyd and concerns a professional scuba diver named Robert Froster in 1988. Froster was diving near the coast of Florida when he allegedly noticed some strange disturbance in the water in his peripheral vision. And when he turned to see what it was, he saw a figure dashing through the water that had been rendered murky and foggy through the stirring up of sediments. Whatever it was appeared to be undulating somewhat towards him, and when it got to within 20 yards, the diver noticed that the thing had arm-like appendages that seemed to be tipped in talons and were reaching out towards him. As it drew closer still, Froster claimed that he could see that its top half had smooth skin, unmistakable breasts, and the head of flowing hair with the bottom half was covered in scales. Whatever it was did not seem friendly, and the frightened diver would say of the gaze, I've never seen such evil hate in the eyes of any human or animal before. He was able to make it to the surface and aboard his vessel without further incident. In another account from August of 1991, a diver was out in the water near Cape Aya on the Crimean Peninsula, Ukraine, in the Black Sea. He was about 100 meters off the coast in calm seas under a full moon when he suddenly felt something poking at his shoulder. Turning around to see what it was, there was only the splashing of water all around. Thinking that his friends were playing a practical joke on him, the witness began to swim toward shore, thinking nothing of it. That's when he experienced a strong strike to his shoulder, and this time he turned around, he was met with the sight of the face of a woman there in the water. Although her eyes were described as being much larger than normal, and even creepier still, she seemed to exude a bioluminescence. The scared witness immediately made his way towards shore, with as much vigor as he could muster, and behind him he could hear thrashing in the water, which he forced himself not to look back at, afraid of what he might see. And as he drew near to the shore, perhaps thinking that he was away from the thing that he had encountered, he felt another powerful jab to his shoulder. And he saw once again the face of the mysterious swimming woman, with eyes black, expressing what he called disappointment. The swimmer rushed onto the shore, screaming and looking back. He could purportedly make out the silvery body splashing on the surface to disappear down into the black depths. Although the terrifying experience was over, he found himself obsessed by what he had seen, even seeing the strange woman in his dreams, and felt compelled to go back several times to the same location, but never saw her again. Also from the Black Sea is an extremely strange report from the summer of 2002 near Odessa, Ukraine. In this report account, 3 Ukrainian divers had headed out to go exploring a weird crater-like hollow depression on the bottom of what they had previously discovered in the area. As they approached the locale, they say they noticed an unusual cube-like structure encrusted with seaweed and shellfish upon the bottom. And they approached to try to pry some of the numerous cockle shells. And as they did this, they claim an ominous, resounding voice blared out from all around them, reverberating through the water to command them, "Don't do that, don't do that," over and over again. As soon as this mysterious voice echoed out around them, the scenery shimmered and changed, with some sort of ancient ruins suddenly become visible to them, complete with classical Greek-style columns. Among these ruins were seen 2 bizarre humanoid beings around 2.5 meters in height and just hovering there in the water without any discernible diving suits or breathing equipment, seemingly totally able to breathe underwater. All they wore were tight-fitting bodysuits of some sort, and they were near one of the ruins apparently studying with some sort of circular object or device of some kind. Having seen enough, the divers made their way to the surface, where the previously calm sea was seen to be roiling and dotted with mysterious green lights glowing and flickering under the surface. Here have been just a few of the numerous accounts of aquatic, amphibious humanoids reported over the years. What could such phenomena possibly represent? Is there an offshoot of humanity out there, perhaps related to some aquatic stage of our development? Are these alien interdimensional beings or something else altogether? Well, no one really knows, and it's all enough to keep one's eyes glued to the water. You never know what you might find.
You know, and here's the stories. We talk about Bigfoot and Dogben and Rake and all that, and how, you know, it really gives us pause to go back into the forest, right?
And feel like swimming?
No, not at all. I grew up swimming in the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's just the thing. And that's the part. I don't know how much is out there, but it doesn't seem there's any limit to the possibilities.
True.
I mean, there would have been a time, back when I started this whole endeavor, it was like, I figured I knew there were ghosts, there were Bigfoots, maybe dogmen. I was okay with the dogman idea. I knew there was aliens. I knew that there was strange phenomena like the Bermuda Triangle and psychic stuff and things that we don't really understand. but it seemed like that was kind of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was the stuff we didn't know about. And now getting into this and discovering all of these different niches and articles and
different kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's like you got insects out there, you got reptile things out there, you've got aquatic fish people out there. There's rakes. There's maybe vampires. Maybe any number of other kinds of things. There are interdimensional beings. There's extraterrestrials. There's just this huge catalog of unknown. And it makes me think, are we really missing that much of the world around us?
Yes.
And I agree. I think we are, because we are conditioned to this tunnel vision. We're conditioned to this three-dimensional existence and all of the trappings of that. Like, okay, I got a schedule, got to go to here, do this. I got to be to work. I got to make sure to pay that bill. I've got to clean the house. I got all these mundane things that we're tied into in our lives, and yet there's this whole amazing world of possibility out there that we're just not even seeing. Mm-hmm. And is that something, when you think of like Greek mythology, mm-hmm. all of the amazing beasts that are discussed there. And of course we all write that off as fantastical ponderings of an ancient civilization, but maybe not. Maybe they were very, very factually reporting on things they were seeing. And we dismiss them as folklore and legend, when in fact they were just saying, look, we had to deal with these insect people, and then we had to deal with these, if you saw a rake, it could look like a skeleton person. I don't know, an animated skeleton. It's just weird stuff, and I think we miss so much mm-hmm. because we're not looking with our eyes anymore.
Well, we've been taught not to. This is kind of odd. We've been taught not to trust what we see. Well, certainly not what we hear. And yet in the world today, we're told this is real because you see it.
Yeah. What
happened to, how you feel and
right.
how that affects you there like that?
Yes.
I don't know.
I think it's incredible, folks. And I think truly there's an entirely worlds of things going on around us that we don't know about. We're just totally conditioned to our little existence. We, with the blinders on.
Right.
Maybe that's society. Maybe that's the race of our lives just causes us to, minimize our focus more and more until we're in this tunnel vision. But I think all of this stuff is out there to some degree. I can't say every claim is factual. But again, my old caveat is if only 1% of the claims that I've brought forward on this show that right. people have made, if only 1% of the thousands of claims are factual, there is still something incredible going on around us. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. And I know what I've seen and experienced, which is already like so much, but there's so much more. And, and honestly, I don't know if I would we be emotionally capable of suddenly witnessing all this stuff and still having any kind of normal?
Right.
Would it just shake us to our cores? And it's hard to know. It's so hard to know. But that was an excellent article as usual. Again, check out Brent Swancer's work on mysteriousuniverse.org and check out his Facebook group, Dark League Paranormal. Mm-hmm. And he's really done an amazing job. He's got an amazing community over there. And speaking of Facebook groups, check out Paranormal Portal Fans as well as Paranormal Portal Radio on Facebook. Those are two Paranormal Portal groups. The fans group has been set up by Cha-Cha, our very own Cha-Cha in the chat, and she's done a great job keeping the discussions going, and a lot of people are in there posting paranormal things of their very own. So it's really cool. And I really enjoy getting over there and looking at what people are doing. And if you want to be involved in that, just head over to facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Fans, I think is what it is. But you can't miss it. It's our logo with the word fans after it. So you'll know it when you find it.
It's definitely Portal related.
It is. Because that's how we rock here in the Portal, folks.
Oh, boy.
Remember, Don? Remember
that time?
Remember when we were just starting out and the world just seemed so big? It's a lot bigger now, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's amazing, yeah, speaking of big. Yeah. Who would have thunk that we would have a download in Uzbekistan?
Yeah, we did. We had a download on the podcast.
Wes.
Yeah.
We're coming for your seat, buddy.
Yeah, we're going to go #1 in Uzbekistan.
We're going to go #1 in Sasquatch Chronicles.
Well, I don't know if we'll ever cross that line. It's a tough act to follow for sure.
Yeah,
he's done a hell of a job, but
well established.
yeah. But no, it's really neat to look at the metrics of the shows, especially on our our YouTube presence is modest, but our podcast presence is pretty huge and is growing pretty fast. And to see when you get the whole globe, the whole map of the world, and you can look at the different countries where people are downloading things. It's like
you wonder their intelligence at some point. You're like, really?
What do you mean? I think our show is awesome.
It is.
It is.
It's just but it harkens back to you Into the Shadows, the show you were on last week, Into the Shadows. Mm-hmm. It's like we don't feel that big.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I'm like, huh?
Yeah. The intro they gave me was just like, oh my God. What show have they been watching? Because I don't think it's ours. But it is kind of cool. We did actually have, because in the Uzbekistan remark comes from, I posted that we hit #1 in Ecuador and then number two in Romania. And I was like, ooh, #2 in Romania, #1 in Ecuador. And Wes says, you let me know when you hit #1 in Uzbekistan, rookie. And then the funny thing was, I went and looked at the metrics. That same day, I looked at our metrics and we had one download there. I'm like, oof, we're coming. It could happen. You never know. Brent and Don, maybe some gargoyle lore at some point. Yeah, gargoyles are, I don't know what to think of those. I'll look. I mean, if we can find some, for sure. I'd love to talk about anything and everything. And folks, if you have ideas that you'd like to hear us cover on the show or topics that you maybe haven't heard enough of, let us know. I don't know about the whole... Are they fashioned are they carvings made of something that people witnessed? And is that the birth of gargoyles? Or do people truly believe they turn to stone during the day and they're possibly alive at night? I don't know. I mean,
I turn to stone.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a great song. I love Yellow.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be a fun one to dig into. I'll have to see if Mr. Swanser's ever done an article on that, because I'll tell you what, the one thing I really respect about his work is that he has, I mean, as you even heard when we read that story, he doesn't just come with one or two claims. He goes and he researches so many different areas to find other claims that match what he's writing about. And it's just really comprehensive.
Guess what I just found?
What, gargoyles? Did you? Is it a Brent Swanser article?
Bizarre Modern Encounters with Real Gargoyles from Mysterious Universe, written by Brent Swanser.
I'll save that. Well, maybe we could read that now, since it was a request.
We have an hour. We have a half an hour.
Yeah, that should do it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, here, let me send it to you.
Oh, okay.
Boop.
I'll be waiting.
Boop. Yeah,
your wish is our command, Titan.
All you got to do is ask. I mean, come on, it's not that hard.
No, I appreciate it. It's just anytime we have something to research, Don, you've been pretty much on the nose, pulling it up.
Pulling up my nose?
No, that's not what I said, Don.
Pulling out my nose?
Nope, I didn't say that either. You're on the nose. You're on the job. Okay, let me get this article. So that's kind of cool. He just mentioned it, and we already have a Brent Swanser article.
I must take a momentary break, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I have to make a run.
Okay. I'll just go to my camera then here. Boom. It's more me, folks. All right. I'm going to pull this up on the Brave browser so I don't get all the ads and stuff with it. All right. And then we'll read about gargoyles. That's a great idea. Thank you, Titan. I'm waiting for it. Here we go. So this is an article from Brent Swanser from June 19th, 2019. Bizarre modern encounters with real gargoyles. Wow. I love that. See, that's the beauty of this show, is when you guys are part of the process, really cool things happen. I don't think I would have thought about doing gargoyles, to be honest with you. But it's perfect. All right, it says, get it on the screen here so you guys can see it. Excuse me. All across the world sits stone demons perched atop dizzying heights to stare out across the countryside below. in silent frozen stares of contemplation, and which are collectively known as gargoyles. The term gargoyle is thought to come from the name of a monster in the 7th century called La Gargouille, which was said to terrorize the country of France in the region of the Seine River before being righteously slain by Saint Romanus, the Archbishop of Rowan. Upon the mighty beast's death, the lore has it that its head was supposedly mounted on a church to keep other monsters at bay, and from here grew the tradition of creating the likeness of grotesque demons out of stone in order to serve as protectors or guardians of important places. It turned into quite an architectural phenomenon, and gargoyles sprouted up all over on churches, cathedrals, or anything else that needed protection from demons and evil spirits. Gargoyles can be seen all over the world, including famously in the Notre Dame in Paris, and 112 gargoyles of the Washington National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. But are these creatures merely confined to these stone apparitions, eternally looking upon their domain? In more modern times, there have been sightings of what are often compared by witnesses as being distinctively like the stone gargoyles of centuries past, only living, and they seem to come out past the fringe of the bizarre, most described as winged, hunched over, gruesome abominations that are hard to really categorize. One report from 2004 comes from the site Phantoms and Monsters and concerns a witness in Bluefield, West Virginia, who had an encounter with just such a monstrosity when he was a child. He describes the area as being mostly quaint, rural farmland, and he says that one day he had a very frightening experience when he was playing near a hedge separating his house and the neighbors. He says of what happened: I was sitting there in broad, sunny daylight when all of a sudden I saw rustling in the hedges. I looked over, and out popped out what I can only put into words as a gargoyle. It looked at me with solid, pointed black eyes. It had frog green skin, and its face looked like a frog, except it had teeth and ears that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. Its ears flexed outward like two big green gloves on the side of its head, like the king that the gargoyles and statues has. Its body was shaped like a bulldog, and its webbed feet turned inward as it walked. Once it saw me, it paused and opened its mouth wide open and hissed. He held it wide open as if to taste the air. I was so scared that I was completely paralyzed. I tried to cry for help, but nothing came out. And as if someone took the pause button off of me, I fled so fast to my home that I don't even remember the race getting there. I was in a panic. I tried to describe it to my mom, and she pointed at the animal childcraft books and said, "See if you can show Mommy a picture of the animal." The closest animal that I could find that looked like what I saw was a koala bear. But I only picked that animal out because it had similar black pointed eyes. My mom laughed and said, "Son, those animals are only in Australia. What you probably saw was a dog," and with that, it was never spoken of again. Oh, Mom. These poor kids.
I'm sorry, what did he point out?
His mom sent him to pick up an animal book and find what he saw.
Right.
And he said all he could find was that looked kind of body shaped like was the koala because it had black eyes.
Oh, okay.
And his mom said, "No, those are in Australia."
Yeah. Can't help it here.
Yeah. Could this possibly have been a misidentified dog with a description like that? If not, then what was it? Your guess is as good as anyone's. A similarly disturbing account reported at around the same time comes from Reddit, from a witness who says of his own experience happened in California's Central Valley. This time in a rather suburban area surrounded by orchards. He describes how one evening at around 10 p.m. he was riding a skateboard home when he heard what sounded like a gust of wind. Even though the night was calm, he says of what happened next. Scroll. I look up in the direction of the sound, and behind the slope of my neighbor's roof, I see two large wings flap and then begin to fold as if the creature had just landed there. As the wings were folding, I guess they were about 5 feet in length, and I noticed that the house light from behind the creature trickled through the wings, like they were opaque and leathery, not feathered like a hawk's. It seemed to have heard me, as I was passing, and it became still, wings folded and rising over its circular head. It had no ears or horns or anything protruding from its head. It was just round. I couldn't see much more, as if the light was behind the creature, so it was a black silhouette, but the leather on its wings were brown. I pulled out my phone and tried to use the flashlight setting to get a better view of it as I was passing, but the light didn't reach far enough, and the creature slowly started to descend behind the slope of the roof until I no longer saw it. I ran into my home and just laid on my bed thinking about what the hell I had just seen. It was too big to be a bat. I've seen bats around here, and they're all small, and their head is shaped like nothing like what I saw. I couldn't have been a bird either, as I distinctly remember the wings being leathery with no feathers. Again, we're left to wonder just what this witness could have possibly seen. Demon? Alien? Mystery creature? Who knows? Another intriguing account comes from Renee Rude at The Paranormalist, who says that her own experience happened one summer when she was just a girl of 9 years old. One evening she was driving with her mom along a rural road somewhere in the United States through an area that she describes as dotted with ponds and woodlands, and that is when she would see something that seems very much like a gargoyle, and she says of her otherworldly experience, it was crouched high in a half-dead oak tree that stood on the bank of a pond. The moon was out, or full, or close to it, and the wind was still. I had enough time to see the creature look for its reflection in the polished mirror of water beneath it, and then look back up to confirm what I was seeing. I suppose I was wondering if it was a weirdly contorted part of the tree itself when the damn thing moved. At first I thought I was going to dive into the pond, but then I realized it was just turning away from the road. As we swept past it, and I twisted around in my seat to keep it in sight, I swear its eyes flared red in our taillights, and then I saw it had wings folded down its back. I am estimated to be about the size of a large dog or small goat. Though the shape was wrong, it was holding itself in a hunched, compact, almost huddled position. It had arms, legs shaped like those of a monkey or a lemur, but much thicker and bulkier. A primate of some sort, most likely. But I was puzzled because its body didn't look furry, but rather rough and scaly, like an alligator. When I caught a glimpse of the wings, I thought they looked like a bat's, of course. I tried to tell Mom and Chet I'd seen something, but when I described it, they chuckled and refused to go back and look for it. Oh, geez. A primate of some sort, curiouser and curiouser. In 2005, there was a report on Reddit from a witness who claimed to have seen one of the creatures on a rural ranch in Nevada. He claims that it was out on the property one dark night with only his flashlight to provide illumination when something came to him from out of his nightmares. He explains, I felt a sudden compulsion to turn my head to my front right. In the beam of the flashlight, in front of my grandmother's chicken coop, about 15 feet from me, was an entity about 7 feet tall. It had its back to me. It halfway turned and looked over its left shoulder at me. Turned enough that I could see it was definitely male. It had a large, bulbous nose, large wings down to its mid-calves, skin and wings that looked leathery, and it was a taupe or pinkish color. No hair that I could see. It was also very thin, almost skeletal in appearance, with some sort of bony protrusions extending from the shoulders. I'll never forget it. Scared the crap out of me. I didn't notice any dead animals in the area afterward, if there were any. And there have actually been a surprising number of strange encounters going all the way up into the very recent times. In 2011, there was a report on True Ghost Tales from a woman calling herself Ashley J., who says that she had been out one night taking a walk with her boyfriend in her hometown of Northern California when they had their brush with the world of the weird. It was around 3 a.m. and the street was described as well lit in the night calm. And they strolled along, they heard a whooshing sound like flapping wings, and they looked up to see a rather monstrous form coming towards them, of which she says, he was flying low, so I got a real good look at him. His wingspan was about the size of a small car, and he looked to be about 7.5 feet tall, at least. The legs and head looked like that of a beast's, but the torso was a big man's with broad shoulders, and I saw his wings flap again once, but he mostly glided rather gracefully. And that's the only part about him I would describe as graceful. I screamed out, "Oh my God, look!" within the first 2 seconds, and my boyfriend got a real good look at him too. I think the demon creature, whatever, heard me, because when that happened, he swooped down below the telephone pole and disappeared as he passed the wiring. Keep in mind, this was a well-lit area with no trees. We should have seen him pass the other side clearly, but as his body passes the electric wire, he vanished like he was going through a door or something. Interesting. From the site Phantoms and Monsters, there have been quite a few other reports of gargoyles gathered by Lon Strickler, one of them supposedly occurring in the spring of 2010 at a place near County Road and Black Road in West Joliet, Illinois. The witness says that he was in his home enjoying a TV show with the window open one evening when he heard the muffled sobbing of what he took to be perhaps a woman crying out in the darkness. He went out to investigate the sound, and what he saw was a 4.5-foot dark-colored entity sitting atop the neighbor's roof, which was crouched and hunched over, and distinctly reminded the witness of a gargoyle. Strickler says of what happened next: the winged being stood, leaped from the roof, and dove towards the ground. As it descended, the huge 10 to 12-foot wings unfurled as it swooped upwards and quickly ascended into the night sky. The witness never saw the wings flap as the being ascended. He did notice that it had pointed ears, but he could not make out any further features on the face. The wings were attached from the shoulders to the legs and did not seem to have detached arms. This particular report was followed up on paranormal researcher Tobias Wayland's The Singular Fortean Society, and it definitely seems to be keeping with the feel of these gargoyle reports. Although it could also be connected with the ongoing sightings of flying entities in the Lake Michigan region, of which I have covered before, and of which you can read a full timeline compiled by the Singular Fortean Society. And there's a link to that. From the state of Florida, there was a spate of very recent supposed gargoyle encounters also reported to Phantoms and Monsters. In 2018, a creature described as a humanoid about 5 or 6 feet tall with bat-like wings was seen near Zephyr Hills, Florida, on 2 separate occasions by 2 different truck drivers. On both these occasions, the drivers said that they had noticed dead deer strewn along the road, although it was unclear if the two were related. Both truck drivers described being overcome with paralyzing fear at the time, and specifically mentioned the entities looking like gargoyles. Interestingly, there was another witness in Zephyr Hills who had an encounter that sounds very similar at their own residence, where they saw a bat-winged creature lurking about their property. Also in 2018 was a report from the same site from a witness in Abington, Massachusetts, who was apparently out one evening having a cigarette at the time when he heard the whooshing sound of what sounded like massive wings. When he looked up, he said he saw what he distinctly describes as gargoyle in every sense. The witness explained to Lon Strickler, "I look up and see this winged creature land on my neighbor's roof and just sit there like a gargoyle would. And I thought I was seeing things or something. Something's wrong, but then the creature jumped up and flew away, and I could see its whole body. It was the size of a small human, but with massive wings. It reminded me of a gargoyle. I couldn't see the creature's face because it was dark, and it was on the roof facing away from me. It looked black, with a wingspan upon flight maybe 4 to 5 feet. The creature itself, while crouched on the roof, looked the size of a smaller human, maybe 4 feet tall. I watched it trying to figure out what I was looking at for maybe 1 minute, and then it jumped and flew off. Even when it flew away, it still looked on the shorter end. As it flew, its legs hung, but still in an almost crouching position. It wasn't a massive creature, but it was definitely humanoid in appearance. Because it was on a roof next door, crouched, its It's possible this thing could have been much larger. I wish I could have seen its face. Are these reports of animals, aliens, demons, or something else altogether? Do they even exist outside of the imaginations of these witnesses? So far, we have looked at just a selection of gargoyle reports from the United States, but such creatures have been seen in other areas as well. Perhaps most widely covered is a case from the small town of Barceloneta, Puerto Rico. And it was here, in this normally quiet rural village, that residents began to complain that something was mauling and ripping apart their chickens, to the point that the entire town was seized with fear, all punctuated by unearthly shrieks, sometimes heard in the night. To make matters worse, there were several sightings of a 5-foot-tall, muscular human with bat-like wings that looked so much like a classical gargoyle that locals started calling it La Gargola. Interestingly, these residents insisted that it was not the sinister reptilian creature, the chupacabras, but rather something different. Local residents apparently tried to set out traps for it, but to no avail. Whatever it was, the gargoyle of Barceloneta supposedly killed over 50 chickens, left behind claw marks on trees, and has drummed up quite a lot of interest on paranormal sites such as Coast to Coast AM and many others. Did you snore?
No, I'm sorry, what?
What could these bizarre entities be? Are they indicative of some sort of misidentification or just hoaxes? Or are they something altogether stranger? Aliens, demons, evil spirits, take your pick. The great paranormal researcher John Keel speculated that such winged entities could be interlopers from some parallel dimension, just passing through either intentionally or by accident, which would help to explain the pure outlandish quality glazing these accounts. It is unclear whether such sightings have anything to do with the gargoyles of times past, but they are definitely often mentioned as such, and these reports seem to go right out to the very fringes of cryptozoology and the paranormal. In time, we might come to some understanding of them, but for now, these reports and many others like them remain enigmas. Whew.
Wow.
That was a good article.
You know, some of those reminded me of the story that James Sausalito told us about the flying creature above his house.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about how, he was talking about Jersey Devil at that time.
Yes.
But what if it actually wasn't a Jersey Devil? What if the Jersey Devil is actually
A gargoyle.
a gargoyle?
It could be. I don't know.
So they're just interesting thoughts, because that's what I was thinking about the entire time. And then when it talked about Lake Michigan, boop, Mothman, hello.
Yeah.
Just thoughts there. There you go.
Yes, exactly. I'm here. I'm agree. I'm in agreement. It's impossible to categorize these things. I mean, terms like gargoyles just get thrown out because they're familiar.
Right.
It gives you a point of reference to kind of imagine.
Right.
But anytime, Seven Pearls, and anytime, Titan. Thanks for the suggestion. It could be anything. I don't know what the hell they are, but they're out there, dude. They are out there.
Dude, did you see the thing? What? The thing. Whatever. Anyhow.
I don't know what things you're looking for, buddy.
Wow.
But yeah, very interesting. And of course, again, I love to support his work because he does such an incredible job.
Yes.
But, his articles are just really well put together, well thought out, and well researched. I always learn new things. Every article of his that I read, I always learn something new.
Yeah, there's always something to look up and make another whole show out of.
Yeah, really.
So, yeah.
For sure.
Crazy.
In fact, I have another one of his articles pulled up, but I'm not, we won't have time tonight, obviously.
Philip Blair says gargoyles are all stoners, man.
Well, it could be. I don't know what they do. I don't know what they do in their land, wherever they're from. But the interesting one was, of course, seeing it by the power lines. It dove and just disappeared.
That was an interesting one, because do power lines, because of the electricity flowing through them, does it create a portal?
Well, electromagnetic field anyway, right?
True.
They are electromagnetically charged. The wires are. Yeah, it's hard to know, but that's really bizarre. Because then you're dealing with maybe something more energetic than physical, but it can appear physical. Who knows? Is it a spirit? Is it something else? I don't know. I suppose it'd be real easy to say they were demons because, of course, we when you imagine demons, you think of these grotesque humanoid beings that kind of, I don't know, they don't seem to have any definite structure or shape to them. They can be like pig noses or some kind of melding between a beast and a human is real common in reports of demonic sightings. I don't know. Maybe these are demonic. Who knows? And if that's the case, stay way the hell away. You know what's creepy is that, for all of those accounts and all those people that were taken by surprise, not one person was attacked.
That's a good point.
Not one person was attacked. No.
And it's funny that, a couple of them, because it reminds me of another story we've read way before about these people were standing like on their balcony and they were smoking a cigarette. Mm-hmm. And it was nighttime, and they saw this thing land on the house beside them, and they watched it jump from a couple houses. So,
you know what they say: some they do, and some they don't. Some you just can't tell. Some they will, some they won't. And I don't know what the rest of the words are. No, Philip Blair just put out "Goodbye Stranger." I'm thinking of Supertramp.
Right.
I love that song. I love Supertramp as well. So.
I did notice, however, that at one point somebody was smoking a cigarette, and at another point it was 3 a.m.
Oh,
in those stories. So just FYI, watch
could be your attention span though too.
That's true.
I know that sometimes you're really drilled in, focused, and other times you're kind of floating out there. But it's all part of the show. It's all part of what we do here, folks. But
somebody gave us a thumbs down.
They always do, dude. That's just reverse encouragement. I don't know.
Call
negative reinforcement.
Calling you out. Shout out your name so we can heckle you.
Yeah, come on. Let us know who you are. You're going to give us a thumbs down. Let us know who you are. The only
give
thing
us a reason.
Well, that's the thing. And, and that's really the thing is that, okay, if there's a thumbs down, and granted, we're always learning. We're always developing the shows to be as good as we know how. And we're not going to get everything right, but those kind of thumbs down things they're I guess it's okay, but they don't tell us anything. There's nothing to shape or examine the format or the way we're doing something to know how to change, to make those turn into thumbs up. And either way, it means you're here, you're paying attention, and that's a good thing all in itself.
We're just glad you waste your time with us.
And if you are new here, please get subscribed. If you would, please, we'd love to have you be a part of what we're doing. We are, of course, live Wednesday through Sundays, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on our YouTube channel. So if you want to catch other live streams, that's when you'll do it. And on Thursday and Sunday nights, we do Night Terrors, which are a shorter format show. They're about an hour. But these other shows, which is Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, are 2-hour shows. So we try to get into as much different stuff as we can because we know all of you guys out there have a real wide variety of interest in the paranormal. I did a survey recently asking people what they loved, and everybody said cryptids. But I got a ton of messages that was like, I said this because, that is my favorite, but I also love this, and this. And, and quite universally, there wasn't anything that I didn't hear brought up. Mm-hmm. So we try to bring as much
to cover the scope.
Yeah, to cover the whole breadth of topics, and to bring something for everybody to the shows. So, but if you have a criticism, please let us know what it is. Be nice about it though, or otherwise you'll be on comments from the cheap seats. That's this one.
The nosebleed section.
That's comments from the cheap seats. So if I get creepy comments and stuff, that's where they go.
That is pretty funny.
Yep. So more skin, please. How about that? There's a little more.
Woohoo!
I'm there.
That's it. It's the back of my head.
Here's some. How's that working for you?
Ooh, it's nice and hairy.
Thank you.
Are you part Squatch?
Oh, just the good parts.
Oh.
I don't even know what that means for sure, but oh yeah.
I don't know. Yes, thank you.
That one.
Okay.
Just hit that one.
Okay, that one.
Or this one.
More appropriate.
That's the Don joke button.
Black Tree says, "Keep your shirt on."
Keep my shirt on. Hey, I'm just trying to give the fans what they want here. It just doesn't seem...
Justin says, I'm going to start some drama and get on there. The comments from the cheap seats.
Oh.
You go ahead.
Yeah, you got something
We'll
crap.
call you out on the show. We know you, mister.
In the words of Billy the Kid, I'll make you famous.
I'll make you famous.
No, not really famous, but we'll have fun doing it. No, I put that up there. I made the comments from the cheap seats because it's like this. Some people feel so entitled to be just crappy with their comments. It's like, criticism is one thing, but just being mean, that's something else. So, I mean, a lot of people just ignore that stuff. They don't acknowledge it. They don't. But I figure, you know what? If you're going to put that much energy into being a dick, then I'm going to put a little energy into
famous.
I'm going to put energy into let people see how big a dick you are. So, I figure that's the least I can do.
Exactly. So we've talked about Oklahoma hunting licenses for Bigfoot season.
Yeah.
We've talked about Bigfoot encounters in BC. We've talked about ichthyodemons. We've talked about
Nessie being a turtle.
Yep, being a turtle.
Reptilian.
And what else can you
humanoids.
ask for? We even took Paracas Skulls. We touched on aliens.
Yep.
And then we touched on gargoyles. What more could you ask for?
By request.
Yes.
No less.
See, we do our best.
I don't know what you could do anymore,
fulfill
folks.
requests.
We're like the McDonald's of paranormal around here.
God, no. Can we be Burger King at least?
Okay.
I mean,
Burger King makes me sick usually, but
that's right, huh?
I got food poisoning from that chicken sandwich, man.
I remember I was here that night.
Oof. Man, I felt like a fresh pile of hell. Oh my God. No, I love Burger King for the record, but man, I had a bad chicken sandwich there one time and I was just, I actually missed a show just because I was puking so much.
Too late, Julia. I already am.
Be a Subway. Oh, Jesus. Come on. Now. Oh, the color you bring to the shows. All you guys out there.
Oh, boy.
You guys are hilarious.
Wow.
But please make sure you're subscribed. Please make sure you ring the notification bells and get, so you stay in touch. We'd love for you to become a part of the family. And you'll know when we're doing this. Now, also, we have a podcast. If you're not familiar with this, our podcast is on all the major players, Pandora, Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Audible.
Yeah.
Are we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're on Audible, Stitcher, CastBox, Google Play.
Yep.
And just a ton of other ones. So look for us out there. And if you like what you hear, head over to iTunes or Stitcher and leave us a good review if you would, please. Especially Stitcher. We've got hundreds of reviews on iTunes. And so far, 4.8 out of 5 stars for hundreds of reviews, dude.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
We're doing good. It's wonderful that people have been so supportive and kind and leaving us nice reviews. So, but Stitcher, we're newer to this. We just started on Stitcher recently in the last 6 months, so it's harder to get the steam rolling, but it's starting to build over there too. But any positive remarks, please, by all means, you'd be helping us out a ton. And feel free to share these streams to wherever you talk about the paranormal.
Yeah, you can share it to like MeWe or,
Reddits or wherever, groups on Facebook, whatever. We'd love for you guys to help spread the word. This has all been fan driven, listener driven. We don't advertise the show at all. So even the podcast, we don't advertise anywhere. It's just out there.
This is our advertisement.
This is it.
Unless you're like Black Tree out there representing in a slick new hoodie from the Paranormal Portal.
Which you can find where, Don?
At teespring.com/stores/paranormal-portal. You can get your paranormal gear there and you wear it proudly. Kind of like Black Tree does.
That's right. She's representing. But
she is.
Here's the Teespring site. Lots of different paranormal gear. You can get gaiters, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers, Black Eyed Kids, and the pyramid one are courtesy of our good friend Thomas at tfetch.com. He's got a site called tfetch.com. If you're ever looking for t-shirts and stuff, check out tfetch because he's all networked into all the major producers and stuff and has some great information over there and links you up oftentimes with coupons and stuff. So tfetch.com, folks. That's a great place to find a t-shirt that you want. Are interested. This one is the grays, isn't it? That's the grays. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's lots of different ones over here. That helps us a ton. Otherwise, if you just want to donate, there's donate button or donate information up on the I'm pointing up on the corner up there if you want to just make a donation if you don't want a shirt. Where is it? Over here. Yeah, up there. Okay. So I guess that's about all there is, Don.
Somewhere over your head.
My head. There's so much over my head, Don.
Yeah, well, me too.
Anything in closing?
No, not at all. Just have a great day.
Have a great day. Have a great night. Have a great week.
Hump day.
It's hump day. Yeah, it's at least on the right trajectory towards the weekend, folks. So
true enough.
Thank you all for being here with us. Thanks so much for all the love and support and encouragement, all the kind comments I've been getting on the YouTube streams. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing, and you've made this nothing but fun for several years now. Oh, thank you, Android. Thanks for another great show, guys. Appreciate that. That's really nice. Thank you.
It's our pleasure, really, truly.
That's really, really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's another way to support us, of course, is super chats. But all right, guys, that's all we got for you. Jesus, where'd that come from? It's all we got for you tonight. I guess I did a lot of reading, but we'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow night with Night Terrors, and then I'll be here on Friday with the 2 hours, and Don will be back on Saturday. So if you're not busy doing nothing, come on in and hang out with me. 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Wednesday through Sunday.
If you're not busy doing nothing.
If you're not busy doing something else. Or if you're doing nothing. Yeah, there you go.
Huh.
All right, well, we'll work through this. What is that? Thank you for your great generosity. Oh, that's nice, Julia. Absolutely. Julia's a good cheerleader. All right, guys, love you bunches. Be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day. Remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll be back tomorrow night at 7. So if you want to hang out, this is where I'll be. All right, good night, everybody. Take care.
Good night.